were trying to understand the cultural differences. In fact, I remember you telling me that each meeting that we start on one Tata Steel, we should share one thing in culture which is unique and really surprises us. What surprised you, and I remember that you said that we are used to a word called postpone, but we've never heard a word called prepone, right?
Yeah.
So that is something which is unique to India. We keep using these words which are not in the dictionary, okay?
Hello, welcome to Fired Up, a podcast series by Tata Steel. My name is John Collingham. I'm the Chief HR for One Tata Steel, and together with me I have Atrayee Sanyal. She's the Chief People Officer from Tata Steel.
Hi, John.
Hi, Atrayee. So, first question, it's a big one. Who are we and why are we here?
Oh, that's like an existential question. Who are we? We are people talking about people today. So it's one of those special days where we get to comment about the most important resource in the world. It's not water, it's not air, it's people, according to me. So we are here as two people who've started a good journey together. I'm Atrayee, and as you've said, I'm the Chief People Officer for Tata Steel, and we are here to probably discover the journey that we have had in the past. What are we going through, and what is it that we are going to be excited about in future? So that's what I think the journey is going to be now.
Yeah, I think that journey for both of us actually didn't start with HR.
Actually, someone asked me, did you choose HR or did HR choose you? And that got me thinking because, John, just like you, I don't belong to the HR fraternity at all. In fact, sometimes I think, do I belong to the corporate world? But yes, I am in some sense very much attached to the corporate world. But definitely it was the customer who was right in front of me throughout my career in the beginning. But somehow, somewhere, I think the purpose of purpose of putting toil and effort was to do good to people. And that's what I think struck about me to other people. And slowly I started discovering that self, that yes, HR has chosen me. So probably that is the reason why I get this wonderful opportunity to chat with you. How about you? Did HR choose you or did you choose HR?
Yeah, actually, many similarities with your story. My background is technical, so I'm a metallurgist by degree and study, and 25 years of experience in that field. And I would have to say that HR chose me. I didn't choose HR, but I was very keen on developing people. A lot of leadership activities, coaching, mentoring, and ultimately that led to my step into the HR world, which was 2.5 years ago. And I must say I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far. So a lot of challenges, a lot of exciting moments, and a lot of retrospective thoughts on people, on this valued resource we have. Yep. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. And we know both of them.
I perfectly understand. People can be the most challenging resource. I keep telling that machines have spare parts. You can order them whenever you want. You can do a shutdown. You can take a break. You can oil them and you can put them back and you'll have replicas of them. If one breaks down, the other is there. For people and human beings, unique spare parts, unique problems, and unique surprises, as well as what they bring on the table. So it's very challenging, and I think for both of us, it's a journey that we are loving.
Yeah, fully agree on that. And there's no instruction manual for it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to explore, like you said, we're going to explore a little bit of history. We're going to move into today's challenges, and then we're going to try and predict the future a little bit. So maybe the listeners and the watchers will be able to agree with us or get some insights. So firstly, I think we should start with the history. Tata Steel, of course, has a rich history. And Tata Steel's founders believed in dignity at work. This is one of their values. So how did their vision, the founding fathers' vision, how did that challenge the global norms and lay the foundation for Tata Steel's employee-first thinking that we have today?
Yeah. Thanks for that question. It's with a lot of humility and with a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, on my shoulders, that I believe that we've been given a task which is a very small speck in the history of Tata Steel. Okay. It's been more than 100 years that this company has existed. And I don't know whether you know it, John, and you're just about getting to know the India side of Tata Steel. I'm getting to know the Hugoin side of Tata Steel, the Chorus side of Tata Steel, which was a past history. One thing which is common in all these places is the care for people. I can surely tell you about India that whatever Tata Steel started, the government of India adopted it, and there are so many examples. I don't want to go into the details of it. One example, two such examples is the 8-hour working for people, and also the maternity leave, which is something the government adopted. In some sense, the Tata Administrative Services is a replica of the Indian Administrative Services. So there are a lot of things that this corporate has done for the company and the various companies that it has managed, but overall for the country itself. Okay. But in the heart of it all, it was the care for people that existed throughout. It is always, let's see what could really benefit our people and also do good to business. So it was not the other way around. Let's see how business does well and then we'll take care of the people. Never. So that has been the ethos throughout Tata Steel. Since you asked me this, what Tata Steel started as a corporate, which was single location Jamshedpur, and it had all the mines around it, which was the thinking of our forefathers, and it's still protecting us in so many ways. It has now become what I say to many of the young graduates who join us, that we are 20 companies, if not more, built into one. We are 5 geographies built into one, and we are sort of coming together as a large multinational conglomerate available in whichever continent that you can think of. We have joint ventures with various countries steeped in history by themselves, and it's so very exciting to see the kind of possibilities in this canvas of Tata Steel, which makes you think the kind of ownership that you have on your shoulders, and the different culture and the different type of people that are there. So it gives you a lot of thought in how is it that you want to take this journey from history to future ahead. And you really need to think it through as to, you are not Indian anymore. You're not Jamshedpur anymore. You are in Orissa. You're in, many other states in the country. And you are an integral part of Tata Steel Netherlands, Tata Steel UK, Canada, Thailand, you name it. And we have people from everywhere in Tata Steel now. So yes, history does play a lot of importance in setting our foundation, defining our values. But the canvas today is so large that we have differential cultures, and all of them is steeped in their own histories. And as we were speaking, they are the tributaries or they are branches which are going to sort of touch each other and grow into a wonderful future.
So let's fast forward to now. Maybe you can just briefly just describe to us, what is Tata Steel like now as an organization?
So Tata Steel has, as I just mentioned, a large presence in various geographies. We are equally big a steel company as we are an important mining company. We are also an engineering and projects company, and we do large mega projects in various geographies now. Uh, Sustainability is at the heart of what we are doing as Tata Steel. You talk of the steel business, you talk about mining, you talk about how you're doing new materials, whether you are innovating for construction solutions, are you servicing automotive customers or packaging customers. We have a large array of products We have a large array of business offshoots from our core business of steel, which makes us a very diversified company. And it gives opportunities to anybody who's wanting to work, and they say that Tata Steel, is it a steel company? Is it the place where I should belong? And I keep telling that you don't know what you're signing up for. You want to do innovation, you want to do R&D, you want to learn supply chain, you want to be a commercial expert, you want to be a mining engineer. It's all there in this company, and you can sort of uh, take those brush strokes in the canvas and make your mark in that. We are 78,000 people in Tata Steel across the globe who work in the organization, but we have more than 100,000 of them who come and go as and when our projects are running, as and when we have contracts with various vendors. So we have a large footfall of around 100 to 180,000 people working together in our various sites. We are very large in India, and we are equally important in Netherlands, because I think we are the largest manufacturing company in Netherlands in steel. Especially, I know we are the only ones over there. In UK, we are the largest steel company, the only one which is started to decarbonize. In Canada, our mines are very important in the place that we exist. Thailand has been always that ray of hope for construction for us in the Southeast Asia. It's something that we are really proud of. So we have various presence, various types of presence in various places. But yes, overall, we are a good big steel company wanting to do sustainable, profitable manufacturing of steel products for now and for the future. And we want to protect this through very sustainable mining operations in India and in Canada.
Wow. I was just mentally counting the number of different nationalities you mentioned in the last couple of sentences. I think 7, 8, maybe 9 different nationalities. So that must bring some cultural challenges with it. How do you see that in real life now, and how do you think we should deal with it going forwards? All these different cultures and people coming together.
And the cultural aspect is something that we are uh, extremely new to. And in some sense, a few of the leaders were always culturally more diverse in the work that they did. But the way I see it, there are two U's in culture that we always try to preserve, and we want to see how we preserve it through our processes, is unity and uniqueness. Okay, there's got to be something in culture that unites us, and there's got to be the respect for uniqueness that we have in various geographies and in the various businesses. The unity part of it is actually a part of our values. Tata values, I remember them as I pure, integrity, pioneering, unity, responsibility, and excellence. I think these values is what gives you the culture that we want to build. We are also trying to build the unified culture through a code, and we will call it the 4C codes of culture, which will be sort of cascading through the tributaries that we spoke of. That's the unity part of it. But what is also very, very important is how do you preserve uniqueness, okay? And this is not to do with Tata Steel. Anywhere, I think there are much bigger global conglomerates, and I think what they sort of find a success in is to preserve the uniqueness, the respect for individuality, as well as the respect for the cultural ethnicity of the place that people come from. And I think that is something that you can never tamper with. Even if you want to, you cannot tamper with it, or you shouldn't tamper with it, or rather you should learn from each other. Just a joke, John, you remember?
I'm laughing. I've not even heard the joke.
I will tell you that, when we were trying to understand the cultural differences, in fact, I remember you telling me that each meeting that we start on One Tata Steel, we should share one thing in culture which is unique and really surprises us. What surprised you, and I remember that you said that we are used to a word called postponed, but we've never heard a word called preponed, right?
Yeah.
So that is something which is unique to India. We keep using these words which are not in the dictionary. Okay. And I asked you that, can I ask you a certain thing that I've noticed in Netherlands, and I don't know why you do it. Each time that you come in or go out of the room, you said, shall I leave the door open or close? And I wonder, why is it that everybody who comes into my room asks me, shall I leave the door open or close? I learned from you something which is a leadership nugget. You said that we try to assess our leader who wants to keep the door open means that the person is more approachable. And the one who is wanting to keep the door closed is the person who indicates something else. So that's a cultural difference. So culture by itself can be enabled through many things. The two U's are one thing. That's a way that I look at things. But I personally believe through structure, through policies, through processes, and through rituals, that is what really makes culture get embedded into multi-geographical organizations. It's tough. It is tough. Have you found it bothering you in some sense, or have you find it revealing?
Yeah, it's a good question. And this last week, it's my first week in Mumbai. I've been spent the whole week with you and our colleagues, and as we've mentioned numerous times, I'm exploring the differences in communication style, which is one form of culture, and that's been a real eye opener for me. We've had some very humorous moments, and for me, there've been a few real penny drop moments. And I've been lucky enough to have been reading a book. I had a long flight to get here, so I was reading the book, and it's all about communication styles and across different cultures. So that's been very interesting because some of the things I've been observing during our Teams calls, remote calls, then having read this book, and then I see them actually happening in practice. And that's been very revealing to me and quite exciting, actually. So I wouldn't say bothering, but it's been very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot. I think a lot more to go on cross-cultural communication. Another challenge we have will be, I think, around global talent mobility.
Yeah.
What are your views on that? How we could stimulate that?
Yeah. Actually, when we started our journey of becoming truly a global company, one of the things, and it's somewhat a dream that I have, that we would be using talent and taking out the best potential out of people uh, anytime and anywhere from anywhere we wish. And much as we say that, what I feel is we've not done enough of it. And I think there's a lot that is left to unearth in global mobility. We've just started. Now the boundaries have opened up, and you see there's so many people, be it in the blast furnaces, be it in finance, be it in projects, be it in HR. We've started moving boundaries of the geographies that predefined us. And I think mobility, tech, uh, the way we design our processes around it will be a big enablement in how we actually unleash the potential of people everywhere. That is a dream. That is something which is not impossible at all. Something that is left to the individual, but the organization to enable it. At the end of the day, I would look at many people raising their hands to say that I can go to Orissa as much as I can go to Netherlands, or I can move from Jamshedpur and try and see what Canada has to offer to me. I would like Dutch people to say that, I'm planning to go to India. Do I have to learn Hindi? I'm waiting for those conversations to open up and the boundaries to sort of dissolve so that we can truly use the right people for the right jobs in the right geographies. It's a dream, but it started to take shape.
Wow. Yeah, I think I can imagine for young talent, this is actually a golden opportunity.
Yes.
And the language, well, I don't speak any Hindi yet, but I did start. I have had 2 lessons on the app. So
Yes. Yeah, I told you tech is one, because when I go to Netherlands, the two things that help me is Google Translate and Duolingo. and I'm constantly on it to check out how is it that I upgrade my Dutch skills. It's going to become almost a survival kit for many people who cross boundaries.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can help each other as
Yeah.
well. Okay, so moving on, talking about the shifts and the things going on in the wider world, what shifts have you seen in how people engage with work and with employers? And what do they expect these days from employers?
Yeah, very important to talk about the world that we're living in and the world that influences us as people and the organization. So I don't have to tell you about how many wars that are there and what's happening in US in terms of, uh, making business more important than people, how skills are, which were the currencies of even 5 years back, is becoming redundant every month almost. How is it that upgradation and competency of not only people uh, who are in the IT world, but also in any manufacturing, any industry, any business, or anything that you are wanting to do, how tech is becoming important. For us as an industry, in addition to tech and digital being absolutely the foundation of many things that we're doing, sustainability is absolutely the survival foundation for what is going to be the future for us. We've seen how decarbonization is affecting our European businesses, but similarly, it's not very far off in India that we will be experiencing the same. And therefore, the world where people really thought that we need to be working in a certain company in a certain way for a number of years, knowing these skills, and I'm a specialist and I'm going to die doing that same work, life has changed. The definition of loyalty has changed, the definition of workplace has changed. And I don't think so. This is something which I'm saying is new. Each HR conference that happens, all the HR gurus across the world, and also the millions of podcasts on HR will talk about each of these things. What is unique about steel is that you cannot work from home for steel. You will have to be there in the factory to produce it, come COVID or no COVID. Okay. You've got to be there in the mines to see that you take out iron ore and coal and many other minerals so that you are able to produce. And that's about 70% of our workforce. So, did we ever work from home? Yes, the few who thought themselves to be managers. Is it here to stay? Well, nobody's taking it away from you. And it stays, and it's about managers to define what they want in their teams. But steel and mining and projects are industries where work from home applies very limitedly, leave alone the mines and all of that. Uh, People come to office to socialize also, right? And you often walk into the office and find empty chairs and bright offices with bright flowers, but no people. On a Monday morning, you don't feel good about it. So, do you call everybody back to office? The answer is no. You've got to find your sweet spot. Why is the answer no? And we will come to that probably later in the discussion of the mix of the workforce. It is about customization, it is about honoring people's ability to perform anywhere. So, how is it that you keep a balance of all of that and yet see that the workplace is a great uh, hub for people to get together? So, yes, there are lots of shifts, lots of trends. Uh, Digital trend, I have not even touched the tip of the iceberg on how it can enable, how it can become a barrier, but how it can unleash what people can do in life. So there's a lot that is to be discovered in terms of the trends that are going. We have started doing that, John. In various geographies we've started doing that, but I still feel that we are in silos. We can pull it together, as we were discussing this morning, to see that people socialize and interact digitally together and get to know what's best in which geography, and use the technology, use the talent, use the wherewithal that is available anywhere. We are there. It's not that we're going to start that journey. We are there, but lots more to discover.
Okay, that's a very comprehensive answer. Thank you. So, making a bridge to our future talent, the so-called Gen Zs, the famous Gen Zs, the people flowing out of the universities now. What are they looking for in an employer, and can we offer them that?
Yeah. So this Gen X and Gen Z and Gen Y has confused everybody. And I thought that I was a baby boomer till I realized that I was Gen Y. Okay. And
Gen X.
Gen X, sorry. Gen X. Sorry for that. Yes, Gen X. And I really think that Gen X is a little more interesting than Gen Z, uh, quote unquote, because X has got an X factor and Z is always sleeping. I say that the Gen Z always sleeps during the day and wakes up at night. So they have been named absolutely perfectly, you know. And the X has an X factor because they might say that you are EXX, but we really feel that we are there to bring back the zing into work. Much of us who are in the Gen X category are actually going to be designing something, but we need to co-create that with the Gen Z so that we leave behind something which is not archaic, not something which was fit for purpose 100 years back. We've got to stop talking 100 years back. We've got to start talking 50 years hence. And I think, be it our communications and all of that, we need to see how much of it is talking about the past and what we have done versus how are we preparing for the future. I think that's very, very important. What we need to do to get Gen Z into Tata Steel and is, of course, show them the possibilities of this organization. I don't think they realize what this organization is. The DNA, the heartbeat of this organization is something that they need to be told about. And of course, when they come in, they've got to experience the same. What is it all about? And I tell many people that why have I stayed back in Tata Steel? Why did I not look at something else? I have written my resignation letters quite a few times during my career. And I'm sure many of us have always thought that why not a different job? But throughout the younger phase of my life and my career, I think uh, the DNA of Tata Steel is to allow you to try and fail in whatever you believed in. It could be a business, it could be an initiative, it could be a policy, it could be a movement, but you are allowed to try what you believe in. But you have to have the belief. Have we marketed this to the young people? I don't think so. They don't know. They think that they've got to work under a prescription, a process driven company. Of course, we're process driven. We're very proud of that. But in all of that, you are allowed to try and you are allowed to take forward the company the way you wish. If you have a case, if you've studied it well, and if you can prove that this is the path to go for. That's one. The second thing, that's more personal. The second one is actually to do with the spread of Tata Steel, which I mentioned, the possibilities of what are the kind of roles that you can do, where all can you work, what is it that you can switch. You got to see how many people, when we do our long service awards, we have something called the long service awards. Of course, in Tata Steel, it's a longer period that you spend to get the long service awards, but it's one place where you hear people that they've had 15, 16 transitions into various roles, various geographies. And they said that no other company would have given me this opportunity to experience so much. And that's what is something that we don't market well. Okay. And I think there is an opportunity now, not only within India, but also in all parts of Tata Steel across the globe, that you have the possibility. You shouldn't be coming thinking, oh God, I should join Tata Steel because I want to work in UK. That's not the objective. You should come to Tata Steel to say that I'm going to be an expert of this and I'm going to run this business and I'm going to learn that and then I'm going to go here. UK and Netherlands and Kalinganagar could be steps in that journey, but it can't be a destination by itself. So the possibilities that Tata Steel gives are enormous. The way Tata Steel is moving towards digital transformation, the way we are looking at digital twinning, the way we are looking at predictive maintenance, the way we are looking at technology for our steel making purpose, it is something that we do not market enough. There is an award called Innovista in the Tata Group, where we get awarded for innovation across the group. And there are numerous entries, okay, and in tens of thousands and not thousands that the entries come in, and people participate from across the world. People don't know Tata Steel is the highest winner of the innovation awards. And yet, have we marketed ourselves as a innovative company? No. Is tech and R&D something that we market well for our company? The answer is no. I think these are the things that really will pull Gen Z. Uh, our work with startups, our work with various alliances that we have, our work in the digital space, the way we use digital not only in producing steel, but also be it for people, experience, for supply chain, for logistics, for marketing, for e-commerce, is something that people have to understand, to believe in, and then I'm sure the glue is going to make them stick. So there's so much in store within Tata Steel and what it has to offer. It's only that we are humble marketers of our own brand, and I think we need to step forward and be aggressive about how great we are sometimes. We've got a lot to learn, but we're also a great company to work for.
And do you think that's enough to bring the Gen Z potential talent? Do you think that's enough to entice them into the company, or are they looking for the possibility to work a 3-day week and work hybrid? Can we accommodate that?
Yes, important one, because we were just discussing, I think, some time back, that what's changed between when we started our jobs and what are young people looking at. It's a part of work culture. It's culture, but it's a working culture. I think there are a few things which I notice, and everybody notices, is that our parents started working for security, right? They wanted us to be stable, they wanted houses, they wanted fixed income to get the children married, all of that, okay? Then came our generation, and I think we worked for lifestyle. We wanted the big houses, the big cars, good holidays, all of that, but all coming from a steady, long, loyal relationship with the employer. Now is the time where I won't say the first and the second has become unimportant. It's just that the dimension has changed. Yes, they do want security, but it's something that they would not compromise. They would compromise if they thought that it is coming in way of their personal purpose. And I think purpose-based choice of careers is something which is right at the top. So did we not have purpose? Of course we did. We were sort of exploring what is our purpose for working. The Gen Z, so-called, discovers that purpose too early. And that purpose could be anything, but it comes right before security, lifestyle. Lifestyle can be borrowed, lifestyle can be aggregated, lifestyle can be rented out, but purpose can't be. And I quite respect that, because that is something which gives them the balance of what this life is all about. If that means that I won't work at all, so be it. There are many youngsters who say that I just don't want to work. I've just finished my studies. I just want to know and discover myself and what is it that I stand for. So there are many people who keep telling me, given a choice, would you have had 2-3 jobs together? Because many youngsters think that they can do 3 jobs together, one in a steel company, one in a tech company, one in a hotel, making their favorite dish, probably. Would you have done that? I shifted on my chair and I said that yes, if I was not really looking only for lifestyle, I would have probably done much more than just the job that I did. So if that's something that I did not live as a dream, I cannot expect that all the youngsters should forego that too. So, how is it that you enable them to discover their best, be it as a human being, be it as a professional, and be it as an expert? So, you've got to enable that. And if you've not got the means to enable that, then you've got to create it. Are we ready for 4 days a week, 5 days a week? Well, as I told you, steel industries run 24 by 7, 365 days. So you've got to choose whether your company survives by doing 4 days a week. According to me, no at the moment, but yes, definitely flexibly. If you think that you need to be there at certain point of the time, even during the night, please do that and complete or contribute to the company in a manner that is beneficial to all. So probably we'll move to that zone, to that space when we automate more and more and we can operate our blast furnaces from work from home. Probably that will be the day that you can talk about this. Automation and digital levels have to be really raising the bar in the industry to experiment these working modes.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I shared an example with you this morning about my own nephew.
Yes.
He recently graduated from medical school and just in the summer, and he started as a doctor. But he was so keen to keep his 1 day a week for his hobby that he asked the hospital, "Can I work 4 days a week?" And they said yes. And I think this is a very interesting kind of supply and demand topic, where if enough of those young people will not sign up for 5 days, we'll be kind of put in a challenge. Maybe it's a different dynamic in Europe to India, but it's certainly a trend which we're seeing.
Yes, I don't deny that. It'll come.
Yeah, and it enables people to combine a career with their purpose.
Absolutely.
So, Atrayee, let's carry on thinking about the future.
Yes.
What should global companies how should they prepare how should they prepare their leaders for the future?
One particular, because leaders are the Gen Xs at the moment.
Yeah.
Though there are many in the world, the startup leaders are actually Gen Ys, and even Gen Zs are coming with their own businesses. We see a definite trend of the usage and adoption of digital among the generations. And we need to admit that we are not the early adopters of digital. We are pushed to use digital to the extent that people need to tell us what to do. That's not necessarily me. I think I'm a little more adaptive to technology, but not as much as many other Gen Yers. There was a program run on reverse mentoring, where the leaders were mentored by young Gen Zers on what is the space of digital and how is it evolving. I think there's an opportunity again there to reverse mentor on the usage of AI in any industry, particularly in steel also maybe, which will be very helpful. That is one area to develop leaders. The second is how to handle people who are very different from you. So there is a generation which is very different. You know that you have children who are of a similar generation, and
we have telepathy. I was just thinking about examples of my own children.
Yes, please share that. I'd be most happy to hear that out, because just to adapt to the fact that they won't come to office on time, and they will be more content performing after 8 in the evening, because that's when they're fully awake, is something which has not struck us. We see it at home, but we're not being able to tailor our hours of working accordingly. Leaders find it especially difficult because please understand, they are under a challenge. There are vendors who are clocking their money because they are supposed to be working 8 to 10 hours a day. There is a project which is to be completed. There is INO to be shipped, and there is shipping to be done of various products. In all of this, they have the Gen Zers and the Gen Yers who say that I want flexibility and I will perform, but let me do it my way. How is it that you make leaders capable of counseling and coming to a balanced way of handling work in the terms that is win-win for both? I think that is something that we don't have as any education or any training. Some leaders do it very well, and some leaders really struggle because of various, not because they don't want to change, it's because circumstances are such that you can't balance the two. So handling of people, getting the best out of them, learning from them, unlearning and not quoting from the past, not having a prescriptive mindset, listening more than telling, are things that are the softer skills which will be famous and uh, a, a sort of a formula which will work in any generation. And come what may, a leader of 20 years back, 40 years back versus 10 years down the line from now will continue to do this. How do you listen? How do you not quote your own experience? And how do you not prescribe that this is the only path to success? I think between these two skills, the digital skills and the ability to manage new workforce all the time, I think are two skills that make leaders very prepared for the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not know whether you have
I'll
people.
expand on the trigger that you gave when you talked about reverse mentoring, and I think you were thinking about a Gen Zer with a Gen Xer in the work environment. But it immediately made me think about my children. So I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son, and they are they're almost from a completely different world. It feels sometimes the way they live their life. They are a generation which was effectively brought up with a phone in their hand. We didn't have that.
Yes.
So they live their life in a completely different way. So for my daughter, the most important, probably the most important thing in her life is TikTok. My son seems to live in his own world, and for me, the insights that they give me on what young people think, what they find important, the way they deal with things in front of them, it's quite confrontational,
Yes.
but also insightful. So I know they're a little bit younger than our new employees would be, but maybe that gives us a window into the future.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. There is one thing that, the youngsters often need as a support, and I think many organizations are coming forth, is the support on wellness. And I think that's a subject which we did not discuss much, but I can tell you that just like digital, just like sustainability, just like corporate governance, just like many other subjects on innovation, wellness is going to be the core of how we keep our people engaged. There's a lot of digital that can be used in that too, and not only developing apps or counting your steps, but giving you insights of a friend on your well-being. And I think that is something the young people can create for us. They can be users of that, and they can even help us. And I think that's something which will be extremely exciting as almost a friend in the environment of corporate pressures that will help you, guide your path through the corporate life. I think all of this put together, there's a lot that people can explore.
Moving on to a different theme, diversity. It's a hot topic globally. What are your thoughts on diversity at the moment?
So, it's been after taking up the role which is global, the discovery on diversity has been immense. We in India, diversity, of course, for most organizations would be gender, female, but would also include people with disabilities and people with ethnicity or tribals, people with in the third gender, etc. Okay, and we would unabashedly put that as diversity targets. When I started interacting with all of us in Europe, I was stunned. You just cannot do that. It's like encroaching on privacy. You're trying to pull out people for what they stand for. You just cannot do that. At best, you can take diversity as women, and that's it.
That's it.
Am I right about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the only thing which we would allow to be shared would be the gender.
Yes.
Even age, we are very sensitive in Europe about sharing people's age.
Yeah.
And certainly the other aspects like religion or ethnicity, we would not be allowed to share that.
Yeah. So that's been one big discovery in how we do our reporting. How is it that governance allows us to report in a certain manner in India, but it just won't be possible in Europe? Having said that, that's reporting and what we look at diversity. In spirit of diversity, I think the Western world, especially US, looks at diversity with a very different lens now, and it's moving towards the other end of not having any special positive discrimination towards diversity. I think that's a view, but it will not be so easy to let go of it in either Europe or in India in any manner. That's because it's my firm belief, as it existed even 5 years to 10 years back, that if a society comprises of certain kind of people, you cannot have a large organization not representing every part of society in the organization. If you do have an organization which doesn't represent it, you will see marginalization, you will see polarization in the society, which will affect your organization in any way. So the journey of diversity continues. The journey of equity and inclusion is beginning in India. We don't realize that it's not important to just have the numbers. It's important to mix and marinate people together and see that you have a holistically performing lot. I don't know whether we do it very well, but I see a lot of good examples outside. And it gives me the inspiration that within India and also within Tata Steel, we will take the journey forward, not only in numbers, but how is it that we make inclusiveness an example. Okay. And the way we have our offices designed, the way we have places where the communities that our people visit, the way we have our digital platforms designed, the way we have our performance management done, how are we doing our feedback, everything is a part of inclusiveness. And I think that journey is just about taking off. It's got a long way to go. We will continue to focus within the company, but as a country in India and also in Europe, as far as women go, I see the leaders have diversity targets. Everywhere in Europe you go, the leaders have diversity targets for sure. Okay, that is something in very few Indian companies you'll find. I think that's something that we will have to step up to. So it will graduate and we will see the journey continuing and not ending. But my favorite one is the day we don't have to celebrate Women's Day, means we have enough women and we are ready to celebrate Men's Day for them. And I think that's going to be an achievement.
Yeah, yeah. What about the HR professional of the future? So we talked a little bit about leaders.
Yeah.
What about the HR professional of the future?
Yeah, the HR professional of the future is a combination of an economist, a data scientist, and a psychologist. It's not going to be the management graduate from some.
I can tell you something. What they call this in Holland, they would call this a sheep with 5 legs.
I like that.
It is a typical Dutch joke that they make all the time.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they have to be built into one, but I can see a team comprising in HR of these individuals. It's not the general management students who can be I'm not saying they cannot perform, but they really need to be having these skills. Why I say that, I think much of the work that they do is very much possible to be done through generative AI, very good platforms and systems and analytical tools that can be created. Because if customization and experience is the headline for any organization and its people, and I hear that in so many talks and books that come across, that's what is going to be the future. And you cannot possibly customize for 100,000 people, right? So it's got to be technology that customizes your pay depending on whether you're 20 or whether you're 50. It customizes your work, that what is it that is going to be done by Copilot and what is it that you're going to do yourself. What is your digital assistant doing today and how are you monitoring your various digital assistants? And therefore, are you being able to provide talent consultancy, psychological help, business acumen providing to people who you contact in business? And, if you have the combination of all this, I worry that the HR fraternity will slowly shrink, because every business person is then going to have the customization tools. What they will need is somebody to guide them and maneuver their path through organizations. That's the task of the HR person. And the HR person therefore has to have a full understanding of business and full understanding of the psychological makeup of people and use data to accomplish that. And that is why I say that it's got to be a combination of the three that the HR professional is. The HR professional has always felt, do I have a seat on the table? And I feel very, very sad to, see that HR is not as confident that it used to be. Why is it that they need to ask questions about what they can do for business? Because to me, when I have stepped into HR, there's not a single day that people have not consulted me as how to make business successful due to some decisions that they were awaiting from my end. It makes me feel that had I not been there, so many things in business wouldn't have happened. So that ability to give the confidence that I understand this part of the business, I understand your value chain, I understand your customer, and your customer knows me. Many of the gurus in HR say that a good HR person is a person whose name the customer knows. And I began thinking how many of our HR people have their names written by the customer in a small post-it that I've got to talk to that person. So we've got a long way to go in the profession, but I can see that evolving. We have some fantastic people who we interact with in the external world, within the organization in Tata Steel, who are real partners and consultants and economists to the business, and people eat out of their hands. So that's what is my thought about HR for future. I also see a lot of virtual HR partners doing the transaction jobs, and they will have names, they will have their salaries, they will have their days off, but they are the robotics that you will use to get much of your work done. And you've got to plan for that. It will not happen so easily. It will happen in the system in the first place. In future, they would be actually existing sitting beside you. So you'll have to need to sort of push them to see what in your task uses your cerebral capabilities more than your hands and legs and only sending emails and pushing paper. You got to really think beyond that. And I think that's not only about HR. I shudder to say that is in many other functions that I see that people really need to understand how do they elevate by using technology to do jobs, do consultancies, do actual business oriented roles which they otherwise wouldn't have found time to. So things are changing and changing faster than we can imagine. Something strikes me of, I've been thinking about it for so long and I want to try out and test this out. How can, people find it very embarrassing and they shy away from difficult conversations and feedback. You agree?
Yeah, and that was the point I was going to write. Coaching, I think that's where the HR professional of the future really needs to go into coaching, because Copilot and AI isn't going to do that for us.
Yeah, but
so coaching, feedback, performance discussions.
I would flip it on the other side. I would say that if you are able to use your digital assistant to give absolutely candid feedback to someone, say that I didn't give. AI has told me that you've not been utilizing your time well and you've only done so much of value adding work. The rest you only passed on mails and delegated. I would like AI to tell me as a leader, you talk too much, you don't listen. In your last meeting, you spoke for 45 minutes and you gave 5 minutes to the others to react. AI could do that for me.
Sure.
Because we just cannot. We are not good at giving candid feedback. And I think we could use AI as a tool, saying that, look, this is a discovery and feedback about your last meeting or your last quarter. This is the feedback on the kind of work that you've been doing. I often tell my office that please scan my calendar and email and see how much time am I spending on people, how much I'm spending on future, how much I'm spending on processes, and how much on problem solving. They struggle to do that. And I really wish that AI could bring all of that together and say that this is the map of your work. And then I could tailor down, and the calendar would be under my control. My reading could be under my control. I think there are wonderful methods that people can use around the world on how an HR professional can bring digital, can bring psychology, and can bring business acumen together to perform for the organization. I think so. I don't know whether it'll come true.
Yeah. You'll see. The future will tell us.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining this Fired Up podcast. Be sure to stay tuned for more interesting Fired Up podcasts in the future.